Good day, my wonderful viewers. You are welcome to our today's class. The question here before us says you calculate the total surface area of a closed cylinder of radius 21 centimeter and height of 14 centimeter, and we are to take pi to be 22/7. Now, let me show us what a cylinder looks like. What you can see before me is a solid shape which is in form of a cylinder, as you can see. So this cylinder comprises of three different parts. And what are those three different parts? Notice that this part is curved. Okay, this is a curved, it has a curved surface. The surface is curved, as you can see here. Then it has two circular ends that you can see here. Here is circular, okay, and this also other end here is also what? Circular, okay. So in that case now it has two flat surface, okay, one here and another one here, making it two, and one curved surface. So if you are asked to calculate the total surface area of a closed cylinder, you have to bear in mind of this circular surface up here and the circular surface down here, as well as the curved surface. Okay, those are the three things you need to bear in mind. Okay, now taking a look at this is a peak milk container. Okay, you notice that one end of it is what? Is open, while this other end is what? Is closed. This is also a what? A cylinder. Now if you are asked to calculate the total surface area of this cylinder, okay, how many surface does this cylinder has? One, it has this flat surface which is just single, and this other end is what? Is open. So there's no flat surface here. Here is open. Then the curved surface. So to find the total surface area of this very one, we need to calculate the area of this flat surface, then the area of this curved surface, adding together to give us the total surface area. So in line with what the question asks us to do here, we are to calculate the total surface area of a closed cylinder. So meaning that the two ends are what? Are closed. Okay, so we are going to be applying this formula. And what are those formula? The first one is we need to find the area of the the two flat surface. As you can see here, this is a flat surface. Since the two surfaces are are closed, so we are going to have something like this. We are going to have two circular surfaces like this. Okay, this is a circle and this is a circle. Okay, something like this. You can see the surface, the flat surface is circular. So we are going to have two circles like this. Okay, meaning that here is closed and this other side is also closed. Now, what other surface are we considering? The curved surface. Now let's wrap this around this cylinder and see what it gives us. Okay, now looking at this wrapped around this peak milk container, okay, gives us the shape of of a cylinder with two ends. The two ends are are open, right? You can see the paper is open at this end and this other end is also open. So if I close this with this side, one end will be closed, right? While the other end will be open. But leaving this aside, now you can see that the two ends are open. Now if I should unwrap this paper from this body of peak milk container, what you observe is that you're going to find out that this is a rectangle, right? So we are going to have a rectangle of this form. Okay, now so these are the total surface we have here. We have two flat circular surface and one rectangular surface, which has been folded to give us a cylinder. Okay, now how do we find the total surface area of this? We can't find the area of this curved surface in terms of rectangle, because it is not in the form of a rectangle. Okay, it's in the form of a cylinder, and it is circular. Okay, curved. Now how do we go about it? Now the area of a circle, okay, is equals to what? Pi r square, right? And here we have two circles here. So since the two ends are closed, we have two circles. So we are going to multiply this by 2, giving us 2 pi r square. So that is for the two, for this for these two circular the two circular ends, right? So this is the area of the two circular ends. pi r squared times to give us 2 pi r squared. Now, for the area of this curved part, how do you find the circumference of a what? Of a circle. Now, if you want to find the circumference of a circle is just like determining the perimeter of a what? Of a circle. Taking a look at this. This is a what? A circle, right? Now, this part is known as the what? Circumference. This circular part is known as the circumference, okay? This curved circular part known as circumference. Now, how do we find the total length of this place, okay? When we find total length of this place, which is known as the circumference, now, in terms of this rectangle, this place is known as the what? The length, right? While this side is known as the what? Breadth. So, by the time I fold it in this order, what will I be having? I'll be having a height, okay? The distance from here to here now becomes height. But in terms of rectangle, it becomes the what? The breadth. So, invariably, the height of a rectangle, the breadth of a rectangle is equivalent to the what? The height of a cylinder. While the circumference, which is the circular base, okay, circular base of, or the edge of this what, the edge of this rectangle, of this cylinder, okay, the circular edge of this gives us a what? The length of what? Of this rectangle, okay. Now, how do we find this curved part? We know that the circumference of a circle, okay, circumference, okay, of a circle is given as what? Is given as 2 pi what? R, okay. 2 pi r is the what? The circumference of this circle, which is same as what? The perimeter of the circle, okay. So, if you have here as the perimeter, okay, that means you have determined the what? The length. You know, the area of a rectangle, okay, area of rectangle is given as length times what? Breadth, right? So that means the length of this rectangle is equivalent to the what? The circumference of this what? The curved edge of this what? Cylinder, okay? So which denotes the what? The length, okay? So that means if you find the circumference of which is this 2 pi r is equivalent to this what? Length, okay? While the height of this cylinder denotes the what? The breadth, right? So since you have known the circumference to be this, so the circular, this is the curved surface area now will now be, instead of me saying length times breadth, I will say the circumference, which is 2 pi r, right? Times the what? The height is standing in as what? Breadth, right? So times what? Height. That will give us 2 pi r what? H, okay? So in totality now, to find the total surface area, so total surface area of this cylinder now, okay, will now be equal to what? The sum of the area of the circular flat surface, which is 2 pi r squared, plus the curved surface, this curved surface, okay, that we form using this paper, right? The curved surface is what? 2 pi r what? H, okay? So these are formula. So from here, we are told that our pi is 22/7. We take our pi 22/7. Our radius is given as what? Our radius is given as 21, okay? 21 centimeter. While the height of the cylinder is given as what? 14 centimeters. So we are going to substitute into this formula. So total surface area will be equal to 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi rh, which implies 2 times 22/7 times our radius is what? 21 centimeter times what? 21 centimeter, okay? So that is for this. Then plus 2 times 22/7, which is the pi, times our radius, which is what? 21 centimeter, times our height is what? 14 centimeter, okay? So having this as is made, what do we do next? What we do here now is to factor out this, our denominator here is a common factor to this what? 21. So we have 7 here, 1, 7 in 21, that gives us 3, okay? Then what do we have next? Here, we have this to be 7 here, 1, 7 in 21 again, that gives us what? 3, right? So let's multiply this. I'm going to have 2 times 22, that gives us 44, times 3 centimeter times 21 centimeter. 3 times 21 will give us 63 centimeter what squared, right? Centimeter times centimeter give us centimeter squared. Okay, then we'll now have plus what you have on this side, 22 times 2 times 22, that gives us 44. Okay, 44 times 3 times 14. Okay, 3 times 14, 3 times 4, that gives us 12. We carry 1 to this place. 3 times 1, 3 plus 1, 4. So we have 42. Centimeters and centimeter will give us centimeter what? Squared, right? So what do we do from this juncture now? We are going to multiply this out. Okay, having 44. Okay, 44 times 63. That gives us 2,772 centimeters squared. Okay, plus 44 times what? 42. Okay, that gives us 1,848 centimeter squared. Okay, so if you add these two things together, adding up this plus 2,772, okay, everything amounts to what? Total of 4,620 centimeter what? Squared. And that is the total surface area of this what? Closed cylinder at both ends. So we thank you so much for joining us in our today class. So hope to see you in our next class. Do well to follow us and invite your friends to also be part of this interesting class. Okay, bye.